So the Bucks just traded Giannis, and I've made this audio quite a bit lately, but I kind of want to just talk about what I found to be fun following this team, watching them win their title, and just make a video on it because it's one of those things that I'm never going to forget. And as someone who watches sports occasionally, way less than what I used to, um, Milwaukee's 2021 championship was very unexpected. I did not think that they had a chance of winning the title that season going into the playoffs. And of course, they ended up doing it. And that entire squad that once was there is now gone. And that really sucks to see. I was getting into the NBA, and initially I was a Thunder fan because I was such a big hater of LeBron James. And I still dislike him for very different reasons now. But because of where I live, I end up following the local teams, of course, Milwaukee Bucks being the closest one. And a few years after the Kevin Durant situation, Giannis started becoming really, really, really good. And people began to notice, and it was interesting because even though I never thought that he would turn out to be that good of a player, I was kind of paying attention to what he was doing on that team back in like 2013 and on from when he was drafted. And it really sucks that the NBA is as hard to watch currently as it is. You just can't get local games on television hardly ever. And funnily enough, at the same time, I don't really feel like I've missed much from not watching them nearly even a fraction of as much as I used to. But watching the Bucks win their championship was like the last kind of phase of me being really interested in sports and watching them on a consistent basis. And it was really cool watching them accomplish that for the city of Milwaukee that didn't see anything like that in the last 53 years or 50 years on the dot, whatever it was. Um, there was a couple years before that, me kind of watching the Bucks, and I was expecting them to choke like how they had every other playoff series they had an interesting shot at winning it all. They choked against the Raptors, they choked against the Heat before the second time, they choked against the Heat after their title win. And when they faced the Heat in the first round, I actually thought that team was going to be cooked. And I remember Chris Middleton won a last second game winner for him, and they swept the Heat in four, which was kind of unexpected. They end up facing the Nets, which they really should have lost that series against the Nets, but thanks to Kevin Durant having
a size 38 shoe.
ended up winning, and that Nets team was good. Like, I really thought they had bust written all over them, and they did lose in the second round. But that team, even though they were as injured as they were, they really should have won that series against the Bucks. Then the Bucks played the Hawks, which it would have been right there when they choked. I really felt like it. Of course, they win. They end up playing the Suns, and the best part about that whole series, man, was that it was the second time they went down 0-2, and they managed to come back again after going down to the Nets 0-2, after going down to the Suns 0-2. I was waiting for that team to choke. I really was. Me watching the Bucks for a few years before that, and they managed to piece it together. It was very, very nice to watch. And watching the citizens in the city of Milwaukee just go crazy over it was see it happen. It was something historic, something that you don't get to see very often. Well, that whole team is now evaporated, and their centerpiece is gone, of course, as well, which for the Heat is actually a pretty interesting team. I think they're going to be dangerous. I think they need some shooters. I think they need one more piece, one more good piece, maybe two more pieces would help a lot. But that team could win it all, especially with Bam. That's a very interesting front court. Um, for Milwaukee, it just feels like it just feels like, I don't know, for the future of this Bucks organization, it's going to be hard to see them winning a lot of games, and it's going to be hard to see me very interested anymore in just keeping up with basketball in general. I still do like the Thunder, and so like sports at this point to me has become one of those things that I just kind of keep up with. And the Thunder end up losing to the Spurs. I have no idea what's going to happen this next season. They got a guy in the draft that seems like he's going to be pretty good, but could be a bust. Who knows? Um, but yeah, I mean, the NBA just, I don't know. It doesn't feel the same, man. Sucks. But honestly, like, for the future, I don't know where they go from here. They got some decent draft picks. If they develop into something good, they might have something. They have some interesting veterans. They have a roster which is fine. It's nowhere close to being a competitive roster for like a playoff scenario, but it's a fine roster. And it could mesh really well. It could mesh really poorly. And this team could very easily be 500 or a little better, and it very easily could be competing for a number one overall draft pick, which it won't receive. But I think the first step in getting this team to be maximized is to change the head coach, which thankfully they did. As soon as they hired Doc Rivers, I knew it was over. I knew it was over. However, the future still has some brightness to it. It's kind of in some ways better than where they were before, but in a lot of other ways, not so much, because the thing is with Giannis, as long as you have him on the roster, you feel like you have a chance. You know, when they were able to win the championship back in 21, they had Giannis and a bunch of guys that were good enough, obviously very skilled, better roster than what we have right now around Giannis this last season. But at the same time, there wasn't anyone else that was a crazy second option. And I like Chris Middleton a lot. I like Chris Middleton a lot. He was very good. He's probably going to be one of the most underrated second options in NBA history. But he's not going to be a guy who you think of as like, you know, one of the best second options of all time, right? That being said, man, I really wish we had Chris Middleton still on this team. Um, I don't know. This is just me kind of rambling a little bit because it feels like this is like a end of an era, and it feels like it's probably going to be a long time before this team is actually competitive for a title again. That's about it for this one. I guess it's something that's been on my mind. It sucks to see, but if you guys got any thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear them.